Prince William and Queen Camilla are once again at the center of a quiet but intense royal dispute. And this time, the conversation goes beyond family tension. It is about something much more sensitive. Who actually gets to represent the monarchy itself? At the center of the situation is a proposal involving Queen Camilla's son, Tom Parker Bowles, and the possibility of him taking on a more visible role linked to royal charitable work. What followed has now raised deeper questions about power inside the House of Windsor, and where the real boundaries of influence actually lie. And the response from Prince William and Princess Anne reportedly shifted everything. But more important than the rejection itself is what it revealed about the future structure of the monarchy. Before we go deeper, welcome to Royal Decode with Emma. If you are interested in royal history, palace decisions, and the real power dynamics inside the British monarchy, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Now let's decode what is really going on. For years, the British monarchy has been operating under increasing pressure. The number of senior working royals has reduced significantly over time. Prince Harry stepped away from official duties. Prince Andrew is no longer active in public royal life. King Charles is managing the demands of the crown alongside ongoing health considerations that naturally limit the pace of royal engagements. The result is simple. A smaller group is now responsible for carrying a much larger institutional workload. Every public appearance, every patronage, every official duty now carries greater weight than before. In that kind of environment, conversations about expanding support are almost inevitable. Tom Parker Bowles has built an established public career outside the royal structure. As a food writer, broadcaster, and author, he is already familiar with media attention and public-facing work. From a practical standpoint, he represents someone who is experienced, visible, and already connected to charitable circles. On the surface, that makes the idea understandable. But within the monarchy, surface logic is never enough. Because the royal institution is not built on convenience. It is built on structure. A royal patronage is not a symbolic gesture or honorary recognition. It is an extension of the crown's authority into public life. When a royal name is attached to a charity or institution, it signals legitimacy, trust, and institutional endorsement. That is why these roles have historically been reserved for working members of the royal family, who are formally bound to public duty. The concern raised within senior royal circles was not about capability. It was about definition. Once you allow non-working, extended family members into official representation roles, the distinction between private relatives and constitutional representatives begins to blur. And once that line begins to blur, it becomes extremely difficult to restore. This is where the situation began to shift. Prince William and Princess Anne took a firm position. The monarchy, in their view, cannot expand official representation based on family relationships or informal proximity to the crown. It must remain tied to defined working roles within the institution. That position did not remain theoretical. It translated into a structured challenge to the proposal itself. The discussion moved into procedural territory, where questions were raised about whether the proper levels of internal review had been fully completed before the idea reached consideration. In royal terms, procedure is not bureaucracy. Procedure is protection. It ensures that no single influence, personal or political, can override the long-standing structure of the institution. As scrutiny increased, the momentum behind the proposal began to weaken. Inside the royal household, the conversation split into two clear perspectives. One side viewed the idea as a practical adjustment to modern reality. With fewer working royals available, they saw value in expanding the circle of support to ease pressure on senior members. The other side viewed it differently. They saw a precedent being set. Because once the monarchy begins expanding official representation beyond working royals, the question is not where it stops. It is where it expands next. That concern became central to the debate. At this point, Prince William reportedly shifted the direction of the conversation entirely. Instead of focusing outward, attention turned inward to individuals already connected to the royal family, who operate outside formal royal duty, but remain part of the broader Windsor network. This is where Peter Phillips becomes significant. As the son of Princess Anne and grandson of Queen Elizabeth II, Peter Phillips occupies a unique position within the royal structure. He is part of the bloodline, yet has built a professional life largely outside royal dependency. His background in business, corporate leadership, and sports management has given him decades of experience in commercial environments that many charitable organizations now mirror in structure and complexity. Alongside him, Harriet Sperling, a professional in the medical field, represents a different but equally relevant form of expertise. Her experience in healthcare aligns directly with some of the most important charitable priorities within the royal sphere, particularly those involving children, early development, and community health. This shift in focus changed the entire direction of the discussion. Because suddenly, the argument that there was a shortage of capable support became far less convincing. Within the existing royal network, there were already individuals with strong professional backgrounds, public credibility, and direct ties to the monarchy. At this point in the video, if you are enjoying this breakdown, make sure you are subscribed to Royal Decode with Emma. A lot of viewers watch without subscribing, so if you are finding value in these deep dives, this is the best time to join the community so you don't miss upcoming royal breakdowns. Now, back to the story. With a credible alternative already on the table, the original proposal lost much of its justification. The argument was no longer about whether support was needed. It became about who should provide that support within the existing structure. That shift proved decisive. Because once the monarchy can demonstrate internal capacity, the need to expand official representation becomes significantly harder to defend. As the discussion progressed, the tone changed from expansion to consolidation. Instead of broadening the definition of royal representation, the focus returned to strengthening what already exists. The proposal connected to Tom Parker Bowles gradually lost traction, not through public confrontation, but through internal restructuring of priorities. Eventually, the recommendation was withdrawn. The matter was settled quietly, without escalation into a broader institutional conflict. King Charles is understood to have accepted the outcome in a way that preserved internal balance within the family. Rather than a visible rejection, the system effectively resolved the issue through structure and alternative options. Within the wider royal circle, attention then shifted toward the practical integration of Peter Phillips and Harriet Sperling into a more informal but structured form of support. Their involvement is framed around voluntary contribution rather than official royal appointment. They do not represent an expansion of the monarchy. Instead, they represent a controlled extension of family capability into public service. And this distinction is important, because it reinforces the idea that support can exist without altering constitutional boundaries. The broader significance of this moment is not about any single individual. It is about two competing visions for the monarchy's future. One vision emphasizes adaptation, flexibility, and the gradual expansion of participation in response to modern demands. The other emphasizes structure, definition, and the preservation of clear boundaries between public duty and private family life. Prince William and Princess Anne appear firmly aligned with the second approach. And through this decision, that position becomes clearer than ever. But this story also raises a deeper question that extends beyond this single event. Because every decision now contributes to a larger pattern shaping the future of the crown. Who is included in official representation? Who remains outside it? And how the monarchy defines itself in a changing world. At the heart of it all, the question remains simple. How far can the institution evolve before it becomes something entirely different? That is the debate now unfolding behind palace doors. And this is where your voice matters. What do you think about this situation? Should the monarchy expand its circle of representation to adapt to modern demands, or should it remain strictly limited to working royals? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read them all, and I want to know where you stand on this debate. And if you are enjoying these deep dives into royal power dynamics, don't forget to subscribe to Royal Decode with Emma, because we are just getting started. There are more developments, more tensions, and more royal decisions still unfolding. And when they do, we will decode every detail together. Until the next royal tea, take care.